Hey everybody, it's Kulipup here again. My camera is facing really high to the ceiling just because it has been known to slowly drop. So you're going to look at my ceiling for a little bit until this comes down. Anywho, welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is all about psychic kids and your kids in general. Where do they fit in with all of this? Where do they... so many people have, hi Lucal, sweetheart, hi Mary, so many people have so many kids, love you, so many kids, oh hello Hazel, sweetheart, hello my love, welcome. But anyway, so many people have kids who are awakening to their abilities, however, nobody knows what the shit's going on. Hi sweetie. How many times do our kids come to us and say, or, aunties or so forth, and say, I see something. There's something under my bed. I don't like this room. Hi, Mary, sweetheart. I don't like this. I feel you. I know what you're thinking. How many times do your children come up and do this, or your grandchildren, or your nieces and your nephews? And it is because at this time in the status of evolution, their eyes are opening, their energy is raising. Thank you, Kat. And things are happening and things are moving forward. So I'm going to, hi Virgin, sweetie. I'm going to, of course, be going through the lesson for today, and we can do a lovely Q&A discussion afterwards as well, so we can gain some proper understanding of what we're going through, or what people are going through here with this. Now, of course, as it does state in the description, anyone who does share this video, shares this lesson today, will be receiving a written transcript of the lesson if you do want it, of course, so you can review and either share it or just have a review a bit later so you can remember the information without watching the video. So if you do share it, I'm going to see your name under the share list, and I will automatically just send you a message with the transcript on it as well. Hello, Mary, my love. Right. Okay, so let us get started. Now, firstly, during the awakening process, and I'm going to be reading from my notes as well as giving further insight as well. So if you see me looking this way, it's just because I'm trying to keep on track with my notes and not ramble on. Right then. So during this awakening process, our children are experiencing signs of ascension much faster and much stronger than the adults out there. They also take on new information and are much more open as they have not been fully programmed to conform with society as of yet. So this is something that you've got to definitely become aware of. Because whether you are, because I know there's a lot of people watching who are definitely aware of the ascension process, are going through it and are feeling the energy and seeing it, but there's plenty of people who will watch this video and kind of just be like, what ascension process? What's happening? And they're not quite aware. Whether you are aware of it or not, it is happening. These things are happening to your children. Their pineal gland is being activated with the boost of energy that is going around through the frequency of the globe and the universe and all that jazz. So whether you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter. Your children are being affected. You are being affected by this evolutionary period. They're just going to feel it a hell of a lot stronger because their bodies are still pretty new. Now, if you've watched my video on the harvest, as when I say why you should raise your frequency, thank you so much, Lucaus. That is amazing. Thank you. Johan, welcome, my sweet. Hi, honey. So kids and the harvest. Okay. So firstly, I'd like you to appreciate that the harvest is going on. It is now in its second phase. It is going to be accelerating, especially in the next 1.5 to 2 years. You're going to see a lot of mad chaos going on. And if you are still lower frequency, you are going to pass. And when I say pass, I mean pass away. Now, this is what I do love, is that there are so many people who are watching right now who have already raised their frequency and who have nothing to absolutely worry about. If you have never heard this before, then I encourage you to pop onto YouTube, pop onto my my channel there and watch the video based on the harvest. I will also make sure I make a note to place that link on my Facebook page as well. So we've got everything going. Yep, Johan, you're absolutely right. 2023, that is when it's going to be over and we are finally going to start calming down. But we're still going to be in recovery 2023 to at least 2025. Things are just going to start to stabilize and become a little bit better. So, yep, we've got to work on it. Hi, Onala, sweetie. Hello. I'm just making a note here to add a link about the harvest. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. Okay. So, now, as it comes to the harvest, we were talking about your kids and what's going to happen to them. Well, do not worry at all. All source fractals live to the age of a minimum of 13 years old. So if you've got a kiddo that is only 5, they're going to survive the harvest. If you have a teenager right now who's like 14 or 15 or 16 or you know, just a kid under 18 or so forth, they are going to feel the process of ascension, and they are going to be called very strongly to ascend. So I wouldn't worry too much about it because they still have a lot of energy in their bodies. They're not like adults who have been programmed and just... It's hard for us to ascend. For kids, they shoot up really quickly just because their bodies and their cellular regeneration is still going on. So I don't want you to worry about your kids surviving this period, like whether they will survive or not. If you are simply here, it means that, like, I mean, like, literally, if you found your way to this video, it means that something is calling you to raise your frequency and you're going to be just fine. So I don't want you to really worry about this in terms of your kids. Now, if you increase your energy, they would automatically be taken through anyway. So let's say you have a teenager who's 14 or 15 who is just so riddled down with meat and doesn't want to make changes for the better. And yes, and Johan, exactly, living in a poor environment of their own choosing, then basically if you increase your energy, you will automatically increase their frequency or their energy as well, so they're going to be coming through. However, if you don't increase your energy and they are higher energy than you, or they're basically, you will go, but they will remain. However, their memories of you are going to be dramatically removed to avoid the scarring on their hearts. And I know I say this in a very nonchalant kind of way, or a matter-of-fact way, but it is a matter of fact. It literally just is a matter of fact. You have to raise your frequency. If you want to be around here to see your children flourish and become the amazing individuals that I'm going to be discussing about today, then put that effort in to take care of yourself, take care of your vessel, raise your frequency, and evolve with us. Because if you're not going to evolve, if you don't evolve, if a species doesn't evolve, what happens to them? They die out. Thank you so much, very much, who has, for all of those who have shared this video already. That is absolutely wonderful. We're gonna get to reach a lot of people and hopefully get a lot of good stuff going on. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these notes. Take steps to prepare as your rhythm, take your priorities. Exactly, that's what we need to do. But, anywho, we're not going to worry too much, only because this is, of course, a lesson on your kids. I just wanted to make sure you didn't worry that they weren't going to survive, because they will. It's all up to you as an adult to carry on through. So, we are going to now go through abilities. Okay, so what are the things that we are going to... our children are going to experience, okay? I've got listed down here the prime abilities that will come out first, or the strongest ones, which I will call our base abilities. Just like walking is a base ability for a human, how you walk in the future, whether that's speed walking, road walking, running, or doing anything, how you travel in the future, that is totally up to you and your skills and what you want to do, right? But the base foundation is that you can walk. So these are going to be those base abilities that you are going to see flourish in your child. So one of the first prime ones to come out is going to be empathy and sentience. Okay, so what are these? And you probably have felt these abilities too if you are not aware of them just yet. If you are aware of them, then hey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So how does empathy come out in a child? And again, it is normally accompanied by clairsentience. So empathy is when you are literally feeling the emotions, the energy in motion, the energetic, well, emotion of another individual. So what is generating, the energy being generated in their solar plexus? You are able to feel this when you are an empath. So if you can feel another individual's feelings, but you don't know that you're feeling somebody else's feelings, how that manifests itself within children is that they can start to feel tired, lonely, scared, confused. They may go through times of just like lots and lots of joy, right? If they're around another person who's very joyous or very calm and very nice, they'll feel quite joyous and they'll feel great. But there's a lot of emotions that they're going to go through. Now, often, because a young empath, and this is because of the world we live in today with so much negativity. If you were a young empath, like I was definitely a young empath, I didn't connect to people when I was a kid. I found it difficult to connect to people because when you know what they feel on the inside, it doesn't matter what they have on their face, right? I could be with an individual and they could smile sweetly at me, but I'm feeling their energy. I'm feeling their emotions, and all I feel is frustration. You know, just frustration and somebody who isn't happy. So I found it difficult to connect because I'm like, you're lying, or that doesn't seem right. You don't feel right to me, because what you're showing me on your face, but what I'm feeling from your heart is opposites, right? Johan, you say, yep, kids are more aware to these facts to use in their advantages sometimes. Oh, definitely. Social pressures as well. We could totally go how they will use it to their advantage when they gain even more control of it, for sure. Pamela, you say, or Lucas, you say, my granddaughter is very gifted and a very old soul. She is very powerful, but she don't understand where she's at. Has started to cut herself. They want to put her on Prozac. Very much concerned about that. Very much. She's 13. Her hormones are raging on top of it all. She's very sensitive, beautiful child. Mom is bipolar. She doesn't help. Johan, and you say it was again the mainstream monoculture rising. Definitely. Huda, hi, hello, my dove. Lucaust, Pamela. I say Pamela just so people understand where the comment's coming from on here as well. So you're absolutely right. Right? She is very powerful. She is an old soul. She is the granddaughter of Lucaust. Of course, you're going to have to be a little bit, you're going to have something about you to be within, sorry, I've got cat hair on me, this family that you have. And you know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm going to save that comment to when we go through the how to manage and so forth, because I think that's definitely going to help a lot. Oh, thank you very much, Huda. I fancy myself to be all right at teaching myself, so thank you very much. Right. So let's go back onto the empaths and the sentience and so forth. So let's describe a child who is empathic. Okay, so this is literally for those of you who just like, okay, I can't understand what's going on, but at least you can see the pattern. So a child that is empathic, okay, is often going to be, they can show signs of depression, okay, they can be very down, but it's really confusing because when you look at their pattern of what they're doing every day, you're like, what do you have to feel depressed about? What is it that you are feeling down over? Because you're not doing anything that would cause extreme sadness. You go to school, you come home, and you go to your room. Like, why is life so bad? Right? This is what we don't understand as adults or people who are not empathic. We just don't understand how they can feel so down. But that's what it looks like. They can become closed off and disconnected, not connecting with brothers or sisters. in terms of fighting with their brothers or sisters, or just, when you look at them, or when you look at the relationship between them, you're like, why do they fight so much? I don't know what's happening, right? So that's what you can kind of see more so on the negative side. There is on the positive side, if you have a child that is just very genuinely quite bubbly and doesn't give a rat's backside, because it's all individual, right? If there's some people who, if they're around, well, no, the younger you are, your empathy is more like a little bright spark of like, woo, this is so nice, right? Because they don't attach to the negative feelings. They may feel it, but they don't care, right? So they're just like, yay, butterflies, and ooh, that doesn't feel good. So they shift their focus. Ice cream feels good, yay, right? And it's really, really sweet. But as they get older, and when they start to, as Johan said there, get into the mainstream monoculture of the rising, social pressures, being distracted, being told how to think, that's when the negativity starts to affect them. And that's when you can see this disconnect start to happen. So what's actually happening with that? Right? Sarah Onala, you say, my daughter is an empath as well. Teacher and doctor wanted to put her on medication as well as putting her in counseling, right? And it's like, just because they can't see or feel, this is something I don't like about doctors. And if anybody here is a doctor, you may not like what I've got to say next, but, because I'm a doctor of the heart. And I want to cure my patients. Doctors nowadays, they simply want to medicate people to cover up and put a Band-Aid over the issue and not get to the deeper issue. So yes, we are going to be discussing ADHD, ADD, and autism as well, but we are going to be doing that a little bit later in the lesson. So definitely stay here if you want to know more about that stuff too. So this is what we see in an empath, right? We can see a child that is unexplainably depressed or disconnected from people, from emotions. And again, what it is that they are feeling the truth of that individual's energy. And when they get older, because we are taught to be distracted, right? Through media, through cell phones, through everything, through just literally being distracted at every turn, we feel the emotions as the empath, but we don't understand what the emotions are, and we attach them to our already negative programming. That is going, yes, I'm just going to let her sit here. So we simply attach to it, and that's where the depression can come in. That's where these feelings of being lonely, of confused, of lackluster come in, and that's where, as parents, we get really scared, right? Because we want to help our child, so the first thing we do is we take them to the doctor, and then the doctor doesn't know what the shit they're doing, and then tries to put your child on heavy drugs, heavy narcotics, in order to cure this depression. And it never works, because how many young people have they put on depression, and look at how the suicide rates just go through the roof. And it's because it's not solving anything. Empathy cannot be solved with drugs. It can only be solved with the control of your mind. All right? Hi, Laura, sweetheart. So this is what we are seeing with empaths. Now, sentience also can be the same thing, or can manifest its way the same way, except for all the same kind of things as empathy, except for if your child is sentient, they're going to feel energies within rooms. So they're going to feel like, so for example, when you go into a room and you're like, oh, you can cut the tension with a knife in here, right? That is sentience. That's you feeling without knowing what's going on. You're feeling the tension, you're feeling the negativity. So that's what kids with sentience are like. They can literally feel the negativity that is there. And they can also feel happy things too, but that, we don't notice those things. We're like, yeah, we're living in the moment, woo! It's the negativity that they feel. okay? That can, again, and when you're sentient, that's what kind of brings in a lot of fear, right? Because you know when you can feel negativity, you don't feel at ease. But if you don't understand what that feeling is, it's like, that is like being overly anxious. You know, people who got the jitters, who are just like, something's here, something's around me. Like, oh, don't touch me. Like, you know, that kind of thing. It's because they know something's there, but they can't see it, and their mind doesn't understand it. So this is why they just kind of like, right? So that is, let me get on to some of these, sorry, I know I'm shaking here. If you can make the link with them, they can demonstrate in some cases unexplained talents for calculus, for example. The isolation can be an efficient way to focus on important things for them. Yeah, oh, sorry, yes, we were talking about autism and so forth. Yes, we will do that. My daughter has a half-age intellectual delay. She doesn't understand her empathic abilities. How do we help our special needs kids? Don't worry. Don't worry. You're jumping ahead there, Annie. I will totally come to that when we get more down the lesson. At what age are there no longer kids? I have 19 years old and 16-year-old grandsons. They both recently went on antidepressants. Technically, when it comes to the age of consent, if we look at the universe, 13 is the age of consent. However, you're not considered, you are at the age of 13, you are considered to understand more of the decisions you are making. You still, of course, need guidance, but it is at the age of puberty, when their sexual organs and so forth are now functioning and active. That is when it is classified as, you know, you're no longer a child at that point. Now, of course, we know they are still children. They really are, and they need more development time, but they need more guidance and development time at this point. So having 19 years old and 16 years old, yes, they are responsible for themselves in that sense. But again, we will totally get down to the whole how to manage it, because I sure as hell don't want any of your grandbabies or your children on antidepressants, because it's all a bunch of hogwash. Not to say that depression is hogwash. It's to say that the drugs they want to use for depression only lead to more addiction. But anyway, we'll go through that again. Lukaus, you say, my concern is the giving the medication without getting to what's inside the child. That makes making that way. They just need guidance. Exactly. Catherine, you say, my friend's daughter the other day said to her, I was born after you, but I existed before you. I was waiting in the sky and said, I want that one to be my mom. She's 8, and she didn't learn that from anyone, earthly anyway. You see, this is nothing I would... She's just speaking the truth. She's speaking the truth of her heart. Her heart is ancient. Her heart is older. Her heart knows what the hell is going on. This is what I'm saying. These kids are totally connected, right? And Johan, you're just replying to Lukaus' comment. Exactly, make a link with them, but it can be hard to touch their hurt or enter their world and respect their way of seeing this world. See, Johan, that is a perfect example of one of the points that I'm going to make at the end of this as well. But I'll just touch on it. You're absolutely right. There are so many adults. We are programmed to think inside a box. And when our gifted children come about and their circles, you know, just like as Catherine was saying, right? Their circles, they're connected. Their pineal gland hasn't been calcified over yet. So they are more connected to their hearts, to their truth, to the truth of the universe. So when they're connected and we're disconnected, oh shoot, you know what? I don't want to say it yet because it's a really good point and I want to make it when I get down to that section. So we're going to get to that. Okay, let me get all through all of this stuff first. Okay. So we went through empathy and sentience and what you can kind of expect. Now, another main ability that you are going to find that your children have is clairvoyancy. Okay, clairvoyancy is the ability to see into the past, present, future, and other dimensions. Now, don't get me wrong, you have more specific abilities listed under that, you know, divination, searing, and so forth. However, I just throw it under clairvoyancy because once you are clairvoyant, you can develop all of these abilities to be more minute and more specific. So, if your child is clairvoyant, what will they be experiencing? What are the kind of things that they're going to come to you and say, hey, what's that? They are going to, normally a lot of kids who are clairvoyant are scared of the dark. They like to sleep with their night lights on because they see things in the night. You know, the whole boogie monster, there's something under my bed, there's something in the closet, there's something in the corner in the room there, I want the light on. Yeah, they're seeing something in the corner. They're seeing something under the bed. They're seeing something in the closet. But we, because again, we are sick and disconnected and our pineal glands are closed off, we tell them it's just your imagination. However, when a kid is clairvoyant and you're saying it's just your imagination and they're literally seeing a spirit right beside you, then they're like, oh, this must be my imaginary friend. Let me go play with my imaginary friend, which is an actual spirit. Now, sometimes though, we tell them that they are just imagining things, but we think that they see spirits, but it's not a spirit they're seeing it. They're seeing entities that can terrify the living shit out of them because they are feeding on this poor child's terror because they know the kid can see them. So they taunt them and continually have them be scared. Before I woke up to who I was, my daughter and my children were literally already on the path of awakening. My daughter slept with a light on, her full light on. It does not matter what we would do. And she would always tell us that there's a woman. There is a woman that comes to her. And then she would say, there's a clown that's really, really scary, right? And I was just like, you have been watching too many of these silly cartoons, you have been, I was so close-minded when I was asleep. It was terrible. And I was just like, at times just being like, no, you have to get a good night's sleep. You cannot sleep with the blaring light on, and I would say things, and now I look back at it, and as soon as I woke up, I had to go to her and I had to say, you know what, babes? Yeah, that woman, I felt her. Because when my third eye woke up, I was writing and I was doing cognizance, and my hand started to really ache, and I was like, what is that in my hand? And then my spirit told me, the woman has come, she was passing through me, and I felt it, and it was a searing pain. And at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the old lady that Kamaya has been speaking about, my daughter? Hi, Nikki, sweetheart. And I'm like, describe her to me. What does she look like? And she described the woman that walked through my hand. And so I got rid of her. Because I know with my power, I could get rid of her. So I literally expelled her from this household and this vessel and so forth. So from that point, when I did that, my daughter slept well that night. Nothing bothered her. She didn't see the creepy lady coming back, hovering next to her doorway, or her door. So she was able to get over that. Then it was very, very funny because she was also telling me about a clown, a very, very scary clown that would always come, and he would sit there and watch her and so forth. And I thought this was overactive imagination until when I was sleeping one time, and not quite sleeping, but when you're just kind of getting ready to drift off, I had this vision and this horrible feeling, this fearful feeling. And there was a clown came up in my vision. It had an oval face, completely hollowed out black eyes, sharp teeth, and like two, like the orange, like little hair coming out here and one coming out here, but completely pale. And I was like, because I don't have a fear of clowns, and so instead of me going, oh my gosh, that was so scary, I went and I asked, I'm like, why the hell is a clown there? So I didn't feed into the fear. I was like, why is a clown there? And I remembered its features. And then I called my daughter in and I asked her, I said, can you describe what that clown looks like? And I didn't tell her what I saw. I asked, can you describe what the clown looks like? And she described a white face, sharp teeth, black eyes, and its hair going out like this. So the same entity that had been terrorizing my child, causing her so much fear, tried to come and cause that fear with me. Now again, because I'm grown and I know how to wield my own power, of course I totally got rid of that clown. And it never bothered her again, right? Never bothered her again. However, through my own ignorance, my own ignorance of me thinking it was her overactive imagination, when really it was I that was sick. It was I that could not see what she was seeing, right? So this is something we have to really understand when it comes to our children. They see and experience so much more than we do. But because we are so close-minded, we make it out to seem like they're the ones that are crazy. They're the ones that need medicating. They're the ones that have something wrong with them, when it's not. It's us. It's us that have what is wrong with us. So that is what you can expect with kids who are clairvoyant. So they will say, I've seen this. I see these things. They may also come and tell you their premonitions. You know, they'll have dreams. They'll have very, very vivid dreams. And just be like, Mommy, and sometimes they'll be worried about it, right? So, for example, your baby could wake up and just come and give you a hug and just be like, Mommy, 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 or Daddy, 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 like, and you'd be like, what's wrong, kiddo? And they're going to be like, I don't want you to be hurt. And you'll be like, I'm not hurt. And they'll be like, but I don't want you to get in a car accident because I think you're going to be hurt. And then you have a tail and, you know, you get into a mini minor car accident, you know, where somebody bumps your taillight or something. And again, they're going to come out with like, holy shit, how did my kid know this? They were worried for you. They have premonitions, right? They could be taken places. They could astral project. They may tell you about vivid dreams of them flying over the housetops. They could tell you about different worlds and different things that they've seen, different beings that they have seen and experienced, right? Through their astral projections. Often, if you have a child that astral projects quite often, they don't get a lot of sleep. They wake up feeling quite tired, right? They'll have these amazing stories for you about dreams, but they'll just be so tired when they wake up too. And you may be like, why does my kid never, like, where is the energy going? Right? They're so creative, they're so beautiful, but why do they want to sleep until like noon, right? And it's because they are using their energy at night to travel all over the place. And they don't know it, they're just having fun. Right? Oh, I've got some comments here, so I'm gonna read these as well because I don't want to miss anything. Sorry about this. Okay. Johan, yes. They just hide symptoms or make them cynical, come back after a period of... Oh, the cyclical come back after a period of time. You drop off the medication. Yeah, this is it. This is it. When you have individuals who have these abilities, again, cannot be cured. Our children are told that they're crazy or there's something wrong with them. So they believe something is wrong with them. And then they believe that maybe if I take this pill, it will be better. And then it doesn't get better. And when they go off the pill, all of these things come back. So again, they still think that they're sick. But in all honesty, their body is simply trying to repair itself. Right? Because their energy is still high enough to do so. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, thank you, my sweet. Nikki, you sending loads of love. I send it right back to you, sweetie. Annie, my love, you say, that used to happen to my daughter a lot. She would wake up screaming and pointing at the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Johan, some spell to protect the house. You can definitely do so. Or clearing them out for sure. Annie, you say, I use a lot of sage. It seems to be a little better, but never works for long. Nah, when you use sage, or crystals or gems or anything like that, when you are using these things, you have to understand that it is the vibrational frequency that distorts where some are able to come into your energy. So it's only temporary. If you if your energy lowers to a point where you are now producing more negative energy than the sage or the crystal or the gem that is there that you are trying to use for protection, then it doesn't matter. The entity is just going to be like, oh, that's nice, because you're giving them all the energy that is required, right? So when it comes to cleansing your house, your household, the best way to do so, and the surefire, that will give you the most results, is simply to clear out your heart of negativity. Once your heart is cleared, you will vibrate at such a high state that you will have a radius where nothing can come in that radius to be next to you unless it is of a higher energy than you. Okay? So for example, my household, no entities besides the own subconscious or conscious entity that is produced with the energy that I have anyway. So besides those two, nothing else can come in my presence. So no entities, no ghosts, no anything negative can literally come within my presence. And that is because I'm already so high energy. So I don't have to do any spells. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is ensure that I feel love in my heart every single day. And that I am fulfilling my purpose every single day. So if I can sort that out, then I don't have to do nothing. Right? And that's what I want everybody to do. Like, why bother go spending lots of money on sage and gems and all of these things when you can literally just have love in your heart and let it radiate outwards, right? But anyway, that is what we're going to do. Luke House, do you say a lot of children are talking about their gifts by parents? Oh, sorry, are talk out of their gifts by parents. Told it's just your imagination. Oh, talked out of their gifts by parents. Yes. Told it's just your imagination. Parents are afraid of the child. Definitely. Their fears are passed on to the child about themselves. Man, Luke House, you might as well teach a lesson for me, honestly. that's what I'm saying. Delayed makes sense. Yep. Oh, Nikki, yes, Eisen does it, and he's always tired. Definitely. Johan, you have asked, gems can be programmed to mass tasks on daily basis for you automatically. Definitely. You can program in crystals and gems. However, if you are producing more, if your power is overpowering the gems, the crystals, they will be useless. Okay? So this is what we have to, or unless you're staying in a place of stagnation, but that's not what's going to happen over this period. There is no option for stagnation. You either raise or you either fall at this time. So gems can only be used while you are raising. But if you are falling, a gem will be useless because your negativity will overpower the positivity of the gemstone. Right? So it's kind of like a shit kind of scenario. Yeah, quartz can be used for that to an extent. Quartz, by the way, quartz crystal amplifies the energy that is within you. So if you have negative energy within you, quartz crystal can actually amplify the negative energy, right? It amplifies whatever is with you. It's a power booster. You just don't want that power to feed into negativity rather than into positivity. Gina, you say, my son has always slept with the bedroom light on. Still does, and he's now 19. I wonder if he's had an experience like that. Totally ask him. Totally ask him about that. So you'll be surprised what you actually come out with. Okay. Johan, not needs to buy gems. You have quartz in some devices or old devices. TV or everything that requires synchronization contains quartz. Oh, right. Fair enough. Yeah. There you go. But just be wary. Oh, wonderful, Gina. Wonderful. I'm glad you did speak to him about it. So, but again, hopefully we can encourage everybody to be a little bit more open as well. Okay, so that's what you can kind of experience with kids who are clairvoyant. Again, premonitions, seeing these. Gina, you say he would ignore my questions. Then he's just not ready to tell you right now, right? He still will feel like he is going to either may possibly be penalized, or you have to remember that kids or young men, right? Although, yes, he's 19, he's a kiddo, but he is still a young man, and he has gone through the programming that, you know, if a guy, a young man, you know, tells anybody that I leave my light on to go to bed because I'm scared of something I'm seeing or experiencing, he's not going to want to share that. Like, how many young men are going to want to admit that they sleep with their light on, right? So give him time. Let him see how open you are and lead by example, right? And then when he feels comfortable enough to speak to you about it, then you can proceed on there. But you also have to not push it, all right? You can't push it. Yes, Johan, yep, clearing your energy on daily basis for safe using quartz or gems. Exactly, exactly. So as long as you are free of the negativity in your heart, then yes, use your gems until you power up so much that you can't even use them anymore because you just drain the power out of them. So that is definitely a good thing to do. Okay, so you're welcome, Gina. Right then, so what are some of the other things that you are going to experience with the children nowadays? So we've went through empathy, sentience, clairvoyance. Let's go through the kinesis, or the kinesi. Telekinesis, electrokinesis, hydrokinesis, geokinesis, and aerokinesis are basically a lot of the main kinesis that are out there, kinesi that are out there. So what is a kinesi? A kinesi is basically the ability to manipulate in the material this ability. So if you are telekinetic, it means that you are able to lift and move things, manipulate things within this material world, okay? Using the power of your mind, because you are just like telepathy, for example, you know, you are using the communication with your mind to communicate with that object to tell it what to do. So if your child is telekinetic, you may find that things around them just move sometimes. Things around them just move. So you could be here and this could be sitting down here, and all of a sudden this will just start going like this, right? Things could knock over really easily. They could be reaching for a water bottle, and before they actually touch it, it starts to fall over. You know, these are the kinds of things that telekinesis can come by. Now, don't get me wrong, when they actually get a grip on it, they'll be able to be like, oh, that's how it works, right? What they are doing when they are telekinetic is they are actually putting their aura, they are putting their consciousness inside this energy that creates this bottle, and they are telling it what to do. The same way that if you have your arm, right? I'm lifting my arm up and down because my consciousness is inside my hand, connected through to my brain signals, right? Now, my entire body is energy. I am made of energy. Everything is made of energy. These brain signals that I have are all made of energy. So if I simply can send my brain signal to connect to this water bottle, I can tell it to just go up through feeling the same way I tell it to go up through my hand to go up through feeling. Right? So it is the same concept of connecting your energy to this, and then you just tell it what to do. That for adults is very difficult because we are so closed-minded, and I'm not even going to lie, my telekinesis needs a lot of work. Needs a lot of work because you need to spend a minimum of 5 hours straight in hard focus to get it to work. I have spent approximately 30 minutes because I'm just like, I'd rather go do some readings and teach a lesson, to be honest with you. So don't worry, that is my next stage of development, is to properly work on my telekinesis so I can demonstrate. That's when we go on to more of the advanced. So don't worry about it. But anyway, so that is what you're going to find with a child who is telekinetic. If you have a child who is electrokinetic as well, it means that they are able to manipulate energies that much more. My son is electrokinetic. And with his electrokinesis, he destroys electrical items because the surge of energy that he controls will either put too much energy into a specific electronic device, or it'll take energy out of it and it will mess with the whole signals. So this child goes through headphones, chargers, everything like it is water, to the point where, you know, when I was sleeping, this is what I've experienced with an electrokinetic child, and you may experience lights flickering. You know, when they come into a room and they get really angry, or they're frustrated, and lights will just flicker, right? And you'll be like, shit, what the hell's that? Is everything okay with the electricity? It's like, no, they're frustrated, so they're controlling the energy. Well, they're not controlling it. They're manipulating the energy through their own emotions, and they're not aware of it. My son at one point was having a very bad dream, and my TV in my bedroom kept going on and off. And I was just like, why? Because, you know, it's like 3 to 5 in the morning, and the TV bloody keeps going on no matter what I do. I was about to go plug that shit out, until I get this whisper in my ear from his spirit going, Mom, can you help me, please? I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, who is this? And my son's spirit's name is Jory. And Jory was just like, we call him Jerry for short. And so I'm like, Jerry? And he's just like, yeah, I can't control him. Can you help him? And so I had to get up out of bed to go check on my son, who was having a little bit of a, you know, in his sleep. And I, you know, use my empathy to just be like, you're okay, you're calm, to calm him down a little bit. So my TV wouldn't frickin' start flickering at 4 in the bloody morning, right? So this is kind of what you can experience with electrokinesis. So a little bit of everything kind of going around. Sorry, let's have a look at some comments here. So Johan, you say, in Become a Habit, being attacked by bunches of entities, groups in the past. Yep, definitely. When you raise your energy but you don't protect yourself, you attract a lot of stuff coming to you, that's for sure. Every night at 3 a.m., not seeing but feeling them around me. Johan again, yep, definitely. Sentience right there. Lukaust, you say, children with these gifts do well with Reiki. Well, if they have healing ability, if they have manipulation in terms of their hand, and they have that ability, empathy and sentience will definitely be best for healing. But Reiki is still child's play. Reiki is kindergarten compared to where we need to go, right? So don't even worry about that. Lukaust, you say, I can't wear watches or anything because of my energy. I know, right? When you increase in your energy, it becomes very, very difficult to wear any jewelry again. Like me, I can't wear earrings, I can't wear watches, bracelets, necklaces, because if I do, I feel very ill. I don't feel right, and it's just like, no, my mind goes absolutely crazy, it messes with the frequency, it's absolutely terrible. Onali, you say, my TV before we moved would turn all the way up, and I couldn't turn it down, as well as channels changing. Yes, these things happen. Annie, you say, I can't figure out if it's me or my daughter doing that, the electrokinetic stuff, right? Johan, now nothing is so much better. Oh, it's nothing. It's so exactly, right? Increasing your energy does this. It does it. Annie will, hopefully at the end of this, we'll figure out exactly what's going on for you. So that is electrokinesis. Now, if you have hydrokinesis, that means your child, if they are hydrokinetic, will be very drawn to water, right? People who, hydro is water, hydrokinesis. So just like my son, he's electrokinetic. He is attracted to all electronics, and he knows so much about electronics, right? Because that's what he's called to. If you're hydrokinetic, you would be attracted to water, bodies of water, no doubt working with water as you get older and everything like that, because it is the element that is most with you, and you're nice and calm. Look at your star sign too, if you are somebody of water as well. So no doubt hydrokinesis will be something that you are in tune with. You also have pyrokinesis, which is, of course, the ability to manipulate fire. I am a Leo. I am also pyrokinetic, so I can manipulate fire. It is because again, it comes to me very, very easily. So again, so fire, anything, think of X-Men and, like pyro, woo, like that's pyrokinesis. If you have a child that is pyrokinetic, they will be oddly drawn to fire. Okay, so make sure you have matches and lighters stored away because they are going to want to start experimenting with fire. And you don't want them to start experimenting with fire inside the house or really at all without your supervision. It is almost like they are drawn to it. And sometimes you think like, oh my God, I have a little arsonist on my hands. And it's just like, it's not necessarily it. It's just because their energy is drawn to this fire, right? So, Johan, you say, is water is draining energy from source fractal synergy cell? No, not necessarily. It can if you infuse your energy into it. If you, with your own will, give your energy to that water, that's fine. But it's water cannot physically, like, oh, if you touch it, it just all of a sudden absorbs your energy. Although, don't get me wrong, if you're high energy, you touch anything and your energy is going to go into it anyway, because it is your energy. But no, it's not exactly going to drain it from you or anything like that. Yes, Nikki, I love water. Eisen driving me nuts. He's pyro too, but he's a Taurus. Right? But fire and water, isn't that the opposites coming together though at the end of the day? It's beautiful. So that's pyrokinesis. You then have agrokinesis. Agrokinesis, if you know your child is agrokinetic, it means that they grow. They are connected with plants and the energy of plants. So you may find that doesn't matter what they do, if you give them a seed, they grow things. They have a special relationship with plants and nature. And it's because their energy relates very, very closely to it. So they're always going to be the ones that like to get their feet in the dirt and watch plants grow and have a very strong relationship with them. They're also the kinds of kids that if you destroy a plant, they're probably going to get really pissed off and upset too. So bearing that in mind. So we also have, in terms of the other kinesises, we have aerokinesis. Aerokinesis is when you have a child who is very good with the manipulation of air around them. When they're outside, they can call the wind to them. If they're flying a kite, they'll be able to fly that kite higher and faster and better than anybody else. I am also aerokinetic, and I remember flying my kite like freaking, I was awesome. And I remember kind of going with my kites like, oh, I want it to go down like this and this. And I'd be like, yeah. And when it started to go out of control, I'd be able to like, no, come back. And I didn't realize I was manipulating the wind. My kites always went to where they wanted to be. Right? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Even now, with my aerokinesis, I'll give you an example. And this is because winter is coming up. Well, if you are in north or where it snows, anyway. This is an example. So last winter, when my aerokinesis was like kind of getting there, I sat at the gym and because I normally would finish a little routine there, and I'd just sit and I'd look out of the window and kind of wait for Lip to finish up, and I'd just kind of meditate a little bit there. But it was starting to snow, and I realized it was snowing, and it was just like a normal gentle fall. But I realized when I focused on a specific area, the snow would stop. It would literally be falling, but then in this one area, it kind of like it froze, and I was just like, wow, that's cool. And I'm like, come here. And then the wind would then flow a bunch of snow right at me. And it would all pool right where I was sitting. And then I'd be like, and then all of a sudden it would go there. So wintertime is a great time when it's snowing for you to go out with your kiddo, or if you are aerokinetic yourself, and just try to focus on the snow and stop it from falling. Because what you're really focusing on is the air and controlling it, right? And then flushing it. So it's really, really cool. So let's have a look here. So that's aerokinesis, geokinesis, which is earth. Earth. They are they have a very, very deep connection with the soil, with earth, with the earth. They will feel very comfortable being in dirt, and very powerful and very strong, because earth, like rocks, very, very strong. If you haven't watched Aang, The Last Airbender, it is a Nickelodeon children's cartoon. But it pretty much explains aerokinesis, hydrokinesis, geokinesis, and pyrokinesis. It's great. Actually, it's a wonderful, wonderful show to watch, because they're actually pretty philosophical in there too. So if you haven't watched that, that'll explain the kinesises pretty well. Okay, so I've got two more that I'm going to say before we go on with the how to manage a child. The next base ability that you may find that your child has is cognizance. Okay? Annie, you say my son and I love that show. Excellent! Hey, if you haven't watched Aang, The Last Airbender in a while, I totally recommend downloading the series or rewatching it again, because when you are awake and your frequency is higher, you see all the messages behind it, and you're like, wow! They go deep in this kid's cartoon, you know. So, please do that. Watch it again. You're really going to enjoy it from a higher frequency perspective. It's not just entertainment at that point and cool little tricks. It's like, you get some philosophical stuff in there. So, and you get to learn a lesson. So please do it. It's really great. Anywho, cognizance, claircognizance. Aang, The Last Airbender. Okay, that's what it's called, John. Aang, A-N-G, The Last Airbender. Or just The Last Airbender, I think. But either way, you're going to see a cartoon of a little bald kid with a blue arrow on his head. And he's got orange and yellow monk's clothing on. It's really awesome. You know what? I'm going to share it. I'm going to find a link and I'm going to share it. You're going to really like it. Anywho, cognizance. When you are claircognizant, what claircognizance is clear inner knowing. All right? Clear inner knowing. What this also kind of means is that your child will just simply know things. And it will seem like, how did you know that, kid? Oh, sorry. I am sitting on my foot. And it is not very comfortable. So I'm just going to... Okay. So, clear inner knowing. All right. So how does this come about within your child? Well, it often accompanies telepathy, for one. These are the kind of kids where, put it this way, I'm going to describe to you mine, right? Thank you, Laura. Thank you for putting that avatar, The Last Airbender. Thank you. I'm going to give you a description of how I was as a child, and you may find this relatable to your kiddos. Now, for me, I was cognizant, and I used my empathy and sentience as well, but I always found that I seemingly had the right answer to a lot of things all the time as a kid. So when I was going through school, yes, I never studied for tests. Never studied for tests. I could never study for tests. I couldn't keep my focus on this long enough, these boring subjects, to want to study in my free time. So as a kid, it was always, well, this was my approach. I'm like, well, if I know it, I know it. I don't, I don't. But yet I always seem to know it. When my friends, you know, if you may have this, their friends seem to crowd around them, or they seem to be an individual who is very important within their friendship or their social circles, because they seem to always have the good ideas, the cool things to do, knowing about things, knowing the plan. People who are cognizant have a strong sense of, I know this information and I know it's right, I'm just going to trust it, right? And it always turns out to be like, yeah, that's actually, it worked out. So they gravitate. So people who need guidance tend to gravitate around people who are claircognizant. because again, the answers just come to us, right? So you may find that with your child, that it's like, wow, they're just, whatever they seem to do, they just take it on, you know, with minimal amount of practice, with minimal amount of effort. They just seem to be magically good at it. And you're like, how the shit do you do that, child? Like, why? And you know why? It's because it is this inherent inner knowing of how to move, how to do these things. You know, as a child as well, not only did I did very well on tests and so forth, but you could give me an instrument and I would be able to play it. You know, give me a little bit of time by myself to kind of work out the chords, work out the keys, work out anything, and I'd come out and just be like, wow, I know how to play this. You know, and it's just because the information just comes to you. So you tend to have children who just seem to just be good at everything when they are cognizant. It also can be a little bit disconnecting at the same time, because if you're cognizant, you normally do have empathy or sentience to accompany that feeling. So not only do you have clear inner knowing, but then you can also feel the negativity of others. So it kind of, when you know the truth, when you're a seer, again, because cognizance and empathy and sentience can help with that, it can be very difficult to remain connected with the outside world at that point. Nikki, you say, oh my God, I hated school. I kind of figured it all out on my own. Same with instructions with anything. To this day, I would rather figure it out on my own. That drove my parents nuts. My brother has an MBA and I make more than him as a high school dropout in medical sales. Yeah. You know what? Like, I tried college myself. I did. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't take the idiocy that was there. Again, me as a cognizant child, I would be taught lessons. I remember I had a science teacher, and the way he was teaching this lesson made no sense. And I'm like, I understood what he was trying to teach, but I can see that nobody else did. And I was this close, being 15 years old, to raising my hand and going, excuse me, sir, would you like me to teach this lesson? Because I know what I'm doing, you don't. So I suppose arrogance would also come out with that. But Nikki, I totally understand, and I totally relate from one cognizant individual to another, right? You know things and you can figure things out on your own that really work and are very logical, and so on. So that's what you can kind of experience when you are a child with cognizance, or have a child with cognizance. A little bit of arrogance, yeah. I think arrogance helps because we do know things and we know they're correct and we know they're true and we know they're right. And so we could kind of say it. It doesn't necessarily make people happy. Alrighty, so now I've went through the main things. I did have Horions down on there, but I think that is for something a little bit, we're going to put that within telekinesis at the moment, but Horions is the ability to compact energy. So you can make things, you can make things look or appear like they're floating, but really it's because you've compacted the energy beneath them. That one's a little bit more complicated, and I think the ones we've covered so far, which will be more, because I don't want you to confuse Horions with telekinesis, which no doubt would happen. So we're just going to go for that, and then we'll discover more as we go along. So, how to manage a child. Now this is, we've went through the abilities. Now how do you actually address your children? How do you, as an adult, going through this process, how do we sort it out, right? We just know, exactly. So, how to manage this. Now, firstly, these are the steps, and I've got approximately 6 steps to go through before we hit the disorders such as ADD, ADHD, and autism and so on as well, and the general discussion. So, number one, firstly thing you need to do is they need to understand that this is normal. It's utterly amazing, but your children and you need to understand that this is a perfectly normal thing, okay? I know when we have abilities, when we are like, I am gifted and so forth, it makes us feel very, very special. And sometimes when we feel like either our children are very special or that we are very special, it makes us have a perception that we are in some way better than another individual who may not have come into their abilities. And that is not the case. We are all exactly the same, right? And it is completely normal. All of these abilities are normal. Totally normal. Amazing, but normal. So they need to know that. They need to know that. They need to know that there is nothing different between them and another person walking down the street. This is perfectly normal. Then, number 2, they need to know that their abilities are used, how they are supposed to be used for, okay? These abilities are meant in the evolution process to be used for love, for caring, for compassion, for healing, for guidance, all right? They need to understand this because with great power comes great responsibility. The only way you can have your abilities activate is through love, is through raising in your frequency and finding that love energy. However, once you've found that and you've got your abilities going because you have control of your mind, there are times when we are tested, and children especially, right? They need to understand that they cannot use their abilities for hate, for vengeance, for pain, or for suffering, right? That's really, really important. They need to understand that I have these gifts, but they are used for love. They are used for light. They are used for the betterment of myself and the people around me, for nothing else, right? So we don't use them for anything else but that. Now, number 3, they need to know what their abilities are about and how they work, okay? They need to know what it is. The connection between mind, body, and their heart, their spirit. They need to know this, understand it, and live in it, okay? So if you found all of these traits in your children, right? If you found that they are seeing things, that they're feeling things, and that they're hearing things, you need to sit down with them and just be like, okay, sweetheart, I suspect that you are clairvoyant. I suspect that you are empathic, and I think that you are also sentient. So let me tell you a little bit about these abilities so that we can help you to understand what's going on with your body, right? It's like if kids didn't understand what puberty was. Nobody had ever told them. And you have little girls that all of a sudden have boobs and they're like, what's happening to my body? I'm deformed. But if they know that, wow, this is a normal thing, don't worry about it. There's nothing special. Boobies come. It's part of being a woman. You know, a little boy, if he starts getting hair on his face and he's never seen hair on a face of a man at all, he may think that there's something wrong with him because he doesn't understand that this is a normal process. When you get into puberty, you grow hair on your face as a young man. And so it's the same thing. They need to understand what their abilities are and how they work. Not necessarily, you don't have to teach them what to do or how their abilities work, because they can discover this on their own. They just need to know what they are and what they can expect. Okay? Just the same way you prepare your kids for puberty, you prepare them for what's going to happen with their energy. Okay. Number 4. All right, you need to actively practice and encourage them to gain control of this ability through meditation and seeking guidance from within themselves and within their hearts. Okay, this is very, very important. We are taught through societal programming to be completely and utterly distracted. Our children are now at the age of 5 on phones, already starting the process of distraction. You know, everywhere you look, your attention is being called, and we are losing focus. So, and with our attention being here, there, and everywhere, it means we gain confusion because we never have enough time to literally figure this stuff out in our own minds. So, encouraging them to practice their abilities. If you are clairvoyant, you just be like, hey, kiddo, tell me what more visions have you had? You know what? You should sit down and see what else you see. Draw for us. Draw me the visions that you see. Encourage them to gain control, right? And of course, meditation, getting them to understand who they are and connecting with your hearts. So how do you do this? There's a couple different things that you can do. So firstly, if you do have a child after hearing this and you're like, you know what? I think my kiddo has this ability. I want you to place your hands in their hands. Okay? So just be like, take my hands, kiddo. Ask them to connect with you. Okay? You ask them to focus on your heart so that they can understand what it is you're feeling and how they feel in return, and express your thoughts and your emotions with each other at that time. This will help them to understand when they are connecting and how it feels, so they can recognize it from another person when it's being done to them. Right? So let me explain that a little bit more. Especially if you have a kid who's empathic as well, placing your hand, with both of you focusing, if you place your hands with them, right, and you say, hey kiddo, I love you, and I want you to focus right in my chest right now, and I want you to imagine my heart beating, and I want you to think of my face, close your eyes and just think of my face, and so forth, right? And you're telling them, I want you to connect with me. And you literally sit there for a minute, or even for 30 seconds. And I want you to feel an emotion. So feel love, feel a positive emotion. I don't want you to feel frustration or anger or anything, but I want you to feel a positive emotion. Okay? Feel that emotion, and then you speak to them, and you finish and you sit down and you're like, what did you feel? They may say absolutely nothing. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Or they may come out with you and say, you know what, I feel really happy, or I feel really calm, or whatever the emotion you were feeling. And you can be like, that's wonderful. You can then tell them what you felt from them, right? And you can say, because often, you feel what your kids feel. Like me, I know when I feel my kids being nervous, I can feel their energy. I'm like, what'd you do? And then I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to get the answer. And then I'm like, okay, let's see if he tells the truth. This is your test now, child. Tell me the truth. So anyway, you feel them. Sorry, that was me kind of going on a little bit. So again, it helps them to recognize when they are connecting to somebody. Helps them focus their mind to understand when they are connecting to somebody, so that when they're out in the world as an empath, they can recognize the feeling that, oh, this negativity, that's not mine, because I know what it feels like to connect to somebody. And I know that I'm connecting to you. So I know that I'm not going to be affected by whatever negative thoughts want to come in next, right? And not only that, but because you're also connecting to them, they'll be able to feel the minglings of energies when somebody is connecting to them, right? So again, if somebody is connecting negatively to them, they can feel it, and they can be like, hey, wait a second, what's going on here, right? So you are teaching them focus and awareness, which is really, really important. Okay. Secondly, what you can do before I start reading a couple of these comments is you can make the effort to always encourage them to share their experiences and keep the connections open. Okay? We have to understand that these connections and abilities will be there and are for the betterment of their lives and the realities that they are going to create. So if they are disconnected from these abilities, they will repeat the cycle of closed-mindedness and negativity and loss and insecurity. These abilities will heal them and keep them happy as well. So what do I mean by that entirely? I mean that if you have a child that is gifted and you actively try to turn that off, because let's say they get overwhelmed, like you see your child who is an empath, who is being overwhelmed because they go to school and they're just in a state of depression because they don't like or enjoy the company of the people that are around them. For you to then say, don't worry, we'll turn it off, or ignore it, or here, take some medication for this. You are disconnecting them from their ability, from their pineal gland. When they don't have their abilities, when this pineal gland doesn't work, it is like a disconnection from their heart. Their heart is their spirit. Their heart is their life force, and their heart is their truth. If they can find their heart actively, they can be guided through life in the most beautiful, positive, healing, and energetic way possible. They will be able to manipulate their energies around them to literally lead a fantastic life. So with you actively disconnecting them from their abilities by telling them that they are not real, or by telling them that that there's something wrong with them, that they need these drugs in any way, you are basically disconnecting them from their true self. And we cannot be hypocrites and tell our children, be yourself, everybody will love you, if we are actively trying to disconnect them from themselves, right? So just recognize that. If you want the best for your children, you will actively encourage them with these abilities to help grow with them, right? You will only see positivity come out of this, and you will only see a happy, healthy child that does not require medication, does not require any drugs, and does not require any distraction. And when you don't require any distraction, you are also calmer in your mind, can think more clearly and make better decisions, right? So you don't have to worry about anything with your kids if you can get them to connect with their heart, right? So let's read a comment or so. So Johan, you said cause and consequences. Yes, that was definitely up there. Nikki, you said after Eisen spoke with you, he said he felt like he could breathe again. You answered so much for him. He also said he actually felt his wings stretch out. He's been so different ever since. Thank you. Again, oh, of course, sweetheart, of course. This is the beauty of children, right? I don't have to work very hard. I can simply say, hey, kiddo, you're awesome. I love you. And they'll take my energy and they will literally transform it into wondrous things, right? Once they open up. And that's wonderful. I'm so happy he felt his wings. It can feel really good. It feels like a nice stretch and you're like, oh yeah. It's great. Johan, you say make a journal. Yeah, that's true. Definitely record these, actively do it. With my daughter, how I get her to work with it is she has wonderful astral projections and premonitions and so forth. So we sit down and we're just like, tell us about your dreams. And she tells us these mad stories of how she vanquishes her subconscious, and how she shows no fear with it. She's just like, yeah, like it came in and it was trying to come in my house. And then I got my spear and she's just like describing basically subconscious infiltration and how she's just like, screw it, die. And she's like 10 years old and she's just going off. So definitely encourage your kids to make journals, to write, to discover, to draw, to paint, to express themselves however they like, because it will lead to wondrous things. Annie, you say, I'm going to start doing yoga and meditation with my daughter. Excellent. Excellent. These are wonderful things. Again, it leads to nothing but wondrous things coming out of your children. Okay. Nikki, you say, my father always made it seem that I was too sensitive, and just like my mom, always made me feel like something was wrong with me. I am an empath. I can't help that. That's very, very true. But, Nikki, I would like to say you are a little bit too quick to jump the gun on a lot of things. So, I've gave you my truth of the heart reading. I don't think I need to explain anything else. Oh, hello, Susan, my dear. Hello. Johan, it says, but it's hard. The only one conscious in the family. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But this is one of the things that we have to come to terms with and come to grips with, is the fact that you cannot force anyone else to evolve. You can only evolve yourself, okay? If your family simply choose not to evolve, then you make other connections in family, in communities where people are evolving. And you will find your love. You will find your place there. And I know it sounds really, really rank for me to just be like, but it's kind of like, if your family members don't want to evolve with you, the only other option you have, if you want to keep them in your life, is to go lower frequency with them. For me, that was never an option. It was either you raise frequency or I don't speak to you. Simple as that. Because I cannot be not progressing, right? Lucaus, you say, Lucaus loves the children. They are my heart. My heart hurts for all the children that are misunderstood. Right, though? Oh, Lucaus, yes. Lupe also has a soft spot for kiddos as well. So, yeah, we're all very, very, very big on that. Johan, yep, I understand, yep. Sarah, Nala, you say, so true. I am the only one conscious in my family as well. Very hard at times. It is, but that's why you shift your focus, right? If you have children, shift your focus on the children. Raise their frequency, raise their awareness. Stop the onslaught of distraction and negativity that comes their way. And you will find that you'll greatly connect. And I'm telling you, man, as soon as I started connecting with my son, getting him to understand himself more, encouraging him to do so, I tell you, I have a 15-year-old kid that I actually like hanging out with. He's really, really cool. We literally have great conversations and laugh together because he's waking up to who he is. I speak to his spirit at Jerry all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, you really, you guys are merging so much because they're funny. They're really funny. Oh sorry, let's have a look here. Johan, just evolving in my way and make some way visible. Exactly. All you can do really is lead by example, right? And I love the fact that you are in your family and in your community. Lucaus, you say, what is Horiant? Horiant is the ability to compress energy beneath you. So if you have the energy of air that is really, really just like loosey-goosey right now, you can literally compress it and compact it so much that it becomes a hard surface, and you can step on that. Or you can put a water bottle on that. Now the thing is, people can't see the energy, so it looks like it's floating. But it's not. It's very stable there. You can push it over. So that's what Horiance is. The compacting and expanding of energies as well. I used my Horiance when I was on the plane. You know, when there was turbulence that was going on, I would compact the energies within and around the plane wherever the air was going or coming from. I would ask them, like, which direction is the air coming from? It's like northeast. Okay, so I would think of a northeast location where the wind is coming, and I would compact the energy around there so to divert the air down on the plane, under the plane or over the plane or something, so that the turbulence didn't happen. So that was really cool. But then I also noticed as soon as I lost my focus, the turbulence would come back, and I'd be like, oh shit, I don't want to shake right now. So let's do that. But anywho, so that's what Horiance is. And Johan, you say, but not investing too much energy in family relationships. You invest your energy into whatever relationship that brings you happiness, joy, and progression. That is your family. If they are helping you progress, if they are bringing nothing but love and joy to your life, that is your family, because no doubt you are doing the same to them. So blood ties, whether you have a physical DNA relation to this individual, doesn't really mean anything. It is literally the connection and the relationship in your heart. That's why soulmates, they're not related to each other sometimes. Sometimes they are, but soulmates that come together from across the oceans, right? They're family. They love each other. They only want the best in the development and progression of one another. They are family. Those are the people you focus on. Just because you are stuck with somebody who causes you pain, suffering, and misfortune, just because they have a DNA link, does not mean you have to stay with them. Okay, sorry. This lesson is going on quite long, so I'm going to try to keep it under 2 hours today. Sorry, Johan, you say, trying to find an open-minded person to make my way more fun, and boom, finding you, and this is a great group. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy, and I'm glad I found you. It's also very nice to speak to people who are awake, because we can get so much energy out of it. It's great. So, number 5, another way you should be able to manage your child's relationship. This is more so for them and for you. So always be open to whatever they say. And if you are scared Do not show them this, as it will cause fear and panic within them and start the process of severing connections. Appreciate, this is one thing, appreciate that your mind, okay, has been severely programmed, where theirs has not just yet. You will have deep-seated fears that will not be applicable to them. So do not program your fear into your children, as they will be far more sensitive to it. Okay? This is touching on what Luke House had said earlier, and I'm like, hey, let me teach my lesson. I deserve it. I always take over your lessons. Well, not always, but sometimes. So what do I mean by always be open to whatever they say, and if you're scared, don't show them this, as it will cause deep-seated fear and panic within them and start the process of severing the connections. So what do I mean by that? Well, just that. If your kid comes to you and says, I see things, be open to it, take it seriously. Don't disregard it. And just be like, if they are seeing things, I want you to be like, crap, what do you see? Tell me. Take it as seriously as if they had somebody approaching them on the street. You would take that damn seriously, and you would do what you could to protect your kiddo. Take this seriously. If they, and it's seriously whether it is a negative or a positive. Sorry, I'm seeing this and it's driving me nuts. If they come to you and they're like, I see angels all over the place, right? Instead of going, oh, that's wonderful, encourage them to be like, oh yeah, what do they look like? What are their names? You know, have you asked them what their names are? How could you be in front of somebody and be rude? That's not very nice. You should ask them what their names are and invite them for tea. You know, get them used to it. Proper engage and take it seriously. And don't let them feel like what they're going through is imaginary. Some of the things that they may say or draw may be very scary. So for example, if I'm going to say a demon or a negative entity is following your child, they may draw pictures that creep you the hell out. They may draw pictures of shadow men or shadows with red eyes or things that will scare you. Or they may draw a little girl with a knife or something like that, because they have entities that are around them. That may cause a really hard fear in you. And I want you to try to be as strong as you can to just be like, okay, this is what you're seeing. I'm on it. I'm going to get rid of it for you. Okay? And then actively, you know, if you don't know how to get rid of it yourself, then you can give people like me a call, or people like Luke House a call. Sorry, Luke House, I'm name dropping. People like Onala. I'm going to drop some names here. Hazel, you know, like Onaloko, Ruby, Onaloko. You could call these kinds of energy. I'm dropping all these names because you're all crown users now. And give them a shout. And you'll find that if you ask, like, they'll give you some guidance or some help too. If you can't get a hold of me, like, this is it. Joanne as well. Joanne, I'm going to drop your name too. You are a powerful individual. So be open to that and don't let your fear process them. And again, appreciate that it is you that is sick right now, not them. Okay? Yeah, that's right, Ruby. I'm totally name dropping. You know, it is you that is sick here, okay? Not them. They do not have the fears, the sickness that is fear. The sickness that is doubt, the sickness that is mistrust. They are literally looking for your guidance in this moment. So recognize that, yes, it is you that is sick. So you're going to want to try to guide them as best as you can, but not inhibit them as they are well. Just the same way that if you have a horrible cold or the flu and your kids are around and you can't get up to get them juice or something, but you know they're old enough to do their own things, they're going to come to you and you're going to be like, okay, babe, don't touch me, but, because I'm sick. But there's cups in the top shelf. The juice is in the bottom. Make sure you don't spill anything and put the cap back on and put it back in the fridge. Just like that. You're sick yourself, but you're just trying to guide them. Okay? That's what you're trying to do. Right. And because, like, just like with kids, if you're sick, you don't want them to come around with you because their immune system is not strong enough yet, and you don't want them to pick up your illness. Same thing with your fears, with your illness of the heart. You do not want them to pick up that fear with their sensitive little bodies and envelop it. Okay? So you want to be nice and open. And again, another example for that is thinking they are sick, so then taking them to the doctor who will do nothing but drug them up, right? So if you're really fearful of what you're seeing, you would then put your trust outside of yourself with your child and put it in the hands of another individual. That other individual won't understand them, so like a doctor, and then, as we mentioned before, put them on some drugs, which again doesn't benefit anybody. It definitely doesn't benefit your child either. So we got that one there. And number 6, lastly, be open yourself and learn from your children. Learn from your children. They will accelerate quickly and may surpass you, okay? Don't let your ego come in the way and hold back their development. All right? So please remember that, right? Nikki, your son, Eisen, he is waking up at a phenomenal rate, right? Waking up at a phenomenal rate. He will get to the point where you will be able to take guidance from him if you do not get this meditation routine done. Anyway, and just know that just because we are parents, just because we are older, sorry Nikki, I didn't mean to call you out on that one. Just because we are older doesn't mean that we are always wiser. All right? Everybody's spirit is at a different stage of development. There are plenty of people who are physically older than my vessel. Okay? Physically they are older by far. But my consciousness is your senior. So I will expect you to address me as such. I will expect you to give me the respect as you would a senior individual, even though I am only 32 years in age in this vessel and in this body. But I'm not going to change my appearance. In another 200 years, I'm going to look the same. But I'm still going to be older than dirt, right? Your children are the same way. When they wake up to their being, they may be your senior. Just as Catherine had said earlier. They may say to you, it's like, look, thanks so much for keeping me alive, but here's the thing. I'm actually your guide. So please, we're going to work through this together. And our egos as adults may be like, what? You're a child. You don't know anything. You take my orders. Like, nah. No. It is whoever has the most wisdom, whoever is closest to their heart. That is who you learn from, because their heart is the truth. So if you can learn based off of only truth, you will see that your life will progress, your relationship will progress, and your child will just be like, off and away. So that is what we have there. I'm going to read some of these thingies. Susan, you say, yes, I was walking my dogs with grandkids, and Caitlin said, Nanny, Sue, someone is following us and I don't like it. Didn't know what to say. It was before I met you. Right? You guys come from a family of like clairvoyants and empaths and sentients, so you feel a lot of the things. Man, your grandkids are going to be like, shh. So this is wonderful that you know what to do now. Samantha, you say, I used to see entities while growing up. It was terrifying. Exactly. And imagine everybody who finds this terrifying. I know I found a lot of things really creepy too. But if only I had somebody to sit down with me and just be like, yo, look, kid, you're empathic. You know, you're sentient. You're cognizant. You may see some things every now and then. But this is what you do when this happens. Life would have been so much easier. Life would have been so much easier. All right? So catch your kids now while you have this information so you can help them through, so that they don't have to be in fear, so they don't have to feel that terror like Samantha has felt, so they don't have to feel that, be so frightened like I felt when I was going through some of these, or so blunt, or so just like meh, or feeling lost. I would still be so lost. Exactly, like feeling lost. It's hard. Sarah O'Neill, you said, I met you right when I needed you. It's been an amazing 4 months, learning so very much in the last 4 months than I have in the last 4 years. It's not easy being one of the conscious in in my family, as well as the only one in a twin flame relationship conscious. I can never thank you enough, Kulipup. Oh, bless you, sweetheart. So much love, so much love. And don't worry, hun. Don't worry. Like, I know it's really, really hard, especially in a twin flame relationship. But you'll get there. As your energy increases, you're going to increase his energy anyway. And so whether he wants to or not, as long as you guys are staying together and as long as you are still on the, the right path, it's kind of like a forced thing that happens. Even lip. I develop, my frequency goes higher than lips all the time. But because he's next to me, he gets forced up there with me. So you're going to do the same thing. And so it's gradual. It's easier when they actually get on board. Don't get me wrong. It like goes so much faster. But you're going to get there, sweetheart. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry. Johan, you say you have tools, your pendulum, exactly, to find out the best way to clear your entities. Definitely. Definitely you use it. Oh, you'd still be so lost. Bless you, sweetheart. Loads of people are lost right now, but this is it. This is why if you can share this video, share it. If you watch my other lessons, share them, right? So that people who are lost, like you were, Onala, can find their way again, right? And when we find our way, we find our health. And when we find our health, we find our power, right? And when we find our power, we lead bloody awesome lives. Let's face it. So now I'm trying desperately not to make this such an insanely long lesson. But I may have to split it up into two. But let's go in at disorders, autism, ADD, ADHD, right? And where do these disorders fit in within the awakening process? Now, I've only mentioned 3 here. If you have other disorders that you would like to comment on today, please do comment, of course, and let's have a discussion about those as well. So, firstly, I want to talk about ADD and ADHD. So let's go with ADD and ADHD first. I'm just getting all of this. Sorry, you'd think I'd have this up prior, but no. Yes, Johan, I know there's so many things to go through, and I tend to want to be like, okay, whilst you have my focus on this topic, I want to get everything out, because like I mentioned in another post I have, my frequency is raising, and in each time I become again more of who I am, even more so than now. And one of the personality changes is just like, oh crap, I do this. I am a terrible professor, great teacher, terrible professor. I'll leave you with information that makes you wonder and then be like, okay, see you next time. So, okay, let's go with ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or we have ADD, which is attention deficit disorder. So these things are it is described as a chronic condition that includes a combination of persistent problems such as difficulty sustaining attention, hyperactivity, and impulsive behavior. Okay, so what I may have to say next, I may have some individuals who are like, no, I totally disagree. If you disagree, then that kind of sucks, right? Then you probably won't agree with much of what I've said in this presentation in the first place. So I'm just going to put it in there as well. Half-age intellectual delay and a disorder. Okay. Oh, Johan, you say sugar food, industrial food, TV, and the screens. Yes. Okay. So firstly, let's look at these disorders first. This is going to be more of a little bit of a lecture here. Okay? So I'm going to prepare you for just me speaking. And you know what? Let me hydrate on this first. Because, not that I'm ripping into anybody here, but it is my frustration with the industry. So, ADD and ADHD. Okay? Firstly, where did these disorders come from? Okay? They were made the hell up. Okay? This is one thing. And this is one thing I cannot stand about the medical industry, because some, I'm going to cuss here and everything, some twat bag who doesn't like children, who wants to claim to be knowledgeable in being a doctor, looked at a child who has a bright amount of energy, whose cells are renewing on a regular active basis, and applied their behavior to an adult who has been severely programmed, right? An adult who is exhausted all the time from going to work that does not fulfill them in any way, shape, or form, who has applied the behavior of a child to somebody who is sick. So, what do I mean by that? ADD, ADHD, lack of focus, and severe distraction, okay? All you need to do is train the body and the mind to calm, okay? That's all that's required. Also, finding something interesting, all right? So, I want you to look at it this way, right? If you have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, I want you to think about where your energy levels lie and why you cannot focus, why your child cannot focus or has all of this energy, okay? For one, you have been programmed and taught to be distracted. You are continually told to focus, yet have never put focusing into practice. Why do we think that as adults? How many adults find meditation so bloody difficult? They can't sit still for 5 minutes. Sorry, my cat's scratching. Right? They cannot sit still for 5 minutes to meditate and discover themselves. Now, would you say that every single adult that can't meditate has ADD or ADHD? Of course not. You would simply say they have a lack of focus. Same with children. It is a lack of focus. However, since you were this big, you have been trained to focus on anything and everything at the drop of a hat. You know, you see colors over here, an advertisement, your head goes over here, but you're having a conversation at the same time, your head goes over here, you go over here, you're here, there, and absolutely everywhere. So the fact that this dude just said, oh, there's something wrong with you, you need to go on medication because you can't focus, because you have too much energy. Hello, kiddo. My lovely 15-year-old. You know, when you have, oh, hello, it's my other one. Hello, kiddo, go on. When you are like, go clean your room. I'm doing a lesson. Go ahead. Sorry. So when you are literally coming into this and you're seeing this guy just tell you that something is wrong with you, you need to take drugs, your brain isn't functioning properly, but ignoring the societal influence of literally advertising agencies, schools, just anything government related has literally programmed you to not be able to focus. Doesn't make sense. That's why you have so many people with ADHD who are just like, what's wrong with me? And what happens is when you think something is wrong with you, when you think there is something wrong with your child, then you put the blame of this lack of focus on this issue, which then leads you to think that there's nothing that can be done about it besides taking this pill. So what happens then? If you think nothing can be done, you stay in a state of confusion. You stay in a state of, I don't know what to do, right? and you want to stay in a state of give me this pill to make me appear normal, which is exactly what every sick person is right now. It's normal to be sick. So we're trying to take the people who have a lot of energy, who have literally a lot of energy, and bring them back down to somebody who's sick. It's like if the world had the flu and it was normal for everybody to be in bed sneezing and coughing with no energy whatsoever. And then we have the few individuals that go out there who are just like, you know what, I want to walk, I want to run, I feel okay. And all of us sick people in bed are going, what? You have too much energy. Here, take this pill. Come lie in bed with me. Because this is what's normal. Nah. Energy, being in life, that is what is normal. Yes, Joanne, you say they not making true analysis, but following some fashion learned in a way. Yep. You can grasp the way they used to take shortcuts, like intern in Dr. House. Yeah. Right? So, firstly, how do you work with, because I know a lot of people are going to come out and they're going to be like, well, Kulipup, that's all well and good, but what do I do when my kid is going off the walls? What do I do when I can't get them to settle down? What do I do when they're just going crazy and I don't know what's happening? I want to give them their pill to calm them down. Well, first, you need to find the root cause of where this comes from, okay? It's all well and good to say, oh, they can't settle down no matter what I try. But have you ever thought that they are just high in energy and you are simply low in energy, okay? The reason why they can't sit still is because they have far more energy in their bank than you do, in their synergy cell. So labeling them as unwell is actually false. It is you that is unwell, and they're new and vibrant. So if your child is hyper or well, which is what I say, then you need to channel their energy into something fun, okay, and exciting. This will feel like hell and a half for you, you know, because if you are a parent and you're tired and you're sick, it doesn't feel good to expel your own energy. But it does not have to cost you any money or anything like that. So many people, when they have a kid who has this disorder, they will be like, oh, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm going to take them to this play date. I'm going to take them to the park to go on the jungle gyms or something like that. Or I have to pay for them to be in a special program. Not at all. It doesn't have to cost you any money. All you need to do is get them up and get them out for a run or a walk. Explore nature specifically. When they can go barefoot in the earth, it will actually help them to circulate the excess energy out of them and back into the earth, and they will absorb newer, fresher energy at the same time as well. So summertime, you know, if your kid has loads of energy, encourage them to go outside and walk in the grass, barefoot. Let them be barefoot in the grass, okay? Or in the dirt, or in the sand, wherever they can be. How come, like, I want you to think about it when you take kids to the beach and they just have fun. They're barefoot. Their skin is touching the earth. They can sit and build a sandcastle. They can splash in the water. They can have a good time. And it's because their energy is flowing in through their feet and out, coming down and through their crown, out and back up again. Like it all flows, right? Because they can expel it. They also get more tired, right? So just think, get them outside, let their feet touch the ground. The closer you get them to nature, the more or easier it is for them to process and manage their energy. It's also good for you. Springtime and fall, look for other interesting outdoor activities as you use more energy outside than you do inside. Now, like I say, most people are sick and distracted, so the thought of spending large amounts of time outside really doesn't feel very appealing, right? But what's the alternative? Do you want to keep your child inside and then give them a pill to calm them down? Or take them outside, let them go do what they need to do. And yes, I know it sucks when we don't want to do this, but I promise you, be consistent with it and you will find great results. Great results. They will feel better. They will be able to manage this. And not only that, but if they're also gifted at the same time, you know, where they have their empathy, their sentience, and so forth. It will help to ease them. We have to remember that our energy, Mother Earth, go on the cat, Mother Earth, if you want to call it that, or call her that, is literally on the vibrational frequency of love. So if you are connecting with the earth, you are connecting to the vibrational frequency of love, okay? And it's really, really, really nice. Annie, you say, thank you for this. I've been told by doctors and family for so long that my daughter needed medication to calm her down. You've opened my eyes a lot. Excellent. This is what we need. We need them to be clear in their mind. They don't need this medication. So much drugs, so much medication, it does nothing but help poison their bodies. Your body, your children's bodies, are regenerating like nobody's business. They don't need drugs to help them. All they need is sunlight, water, good food, and a way to express themselves. Because they are just continually generating loads of energy in order to grow. So all you got to do is help channel it. And it's brilliant. Johan, it's a way to make the connection with your children. Yes, definitely. And even if you didn't want to, you could literally just like, okay, we're gonna go to a field. I'm gonna sit over here, but I want you to give me 20 cartwheels and 15 jumping jacks, and I'm gonna sit here and count it. You could even do it that way. But either way, get your kid on the ground with their feet uncovered, not in any shoes. It will also help with the balance on their feet. You will find that they'll be able to walk upright with their backs straighter and so forth, because the natural curvature of the earth and the way it feels under their feet will help them to find balance within their knees at the same time. Annie, you say she loves grounding. She doesn't know that that's what she's doing, but hates wearing shoes and socks outside. She loves to go barefoot. Exactly. We need to listen to our children. Listen to them. If she doesn't like wearing the shoes, just be like, you know what, kid, I get it. As long as it's not cold and raining and you're going to get like frostbite on your feet, then yeah, go out there. Go out there and enjoy being in nature, being where she needs to be. It'll feel that much better. Okay. So that is my perspective on ADD and ADHD. Okay. If there is anything anybody else wants to put in there, again, my solution is to recognize that it is a completely made up and false disorder from... sorry, Lip is just hearing this and he's like, yes. Hello, Mother. So, literally, it's completely made up. And it's some silly, silly man. Lukas, you say, do I need to be concerned with them putting her on Prozac? She is starting to cut herself, and because mom is bipolar, they feel like that she could do too. I'm not buying it. She loves animals. See, this is it.
No Prozac, no Prozac.
Sorry, Lip is like, no Prozac. Definitely not. If I can't tell you what to do, and I definitely can't tell your son what to do, or all I can do is I can offer my pure and honest advice in this situation. For your granddaughter, I would definitely keep her so far away from medication and doctors and Prozac. She is incredibly gifted. Lukaust, you have to remember that not only is she already a powerful soul in herself, but she is around you or connected to you. You are incredibly high energy. You are going to be feeding her energy and amplifying her abilities. Just the same way that when you guys come around me for long periods of time, and you have my focus, your energy just increases like crazy, right? You are doing the same thing to her right now, Lukaust. And it doesn't matter. And she's 13, right? So she is coming into the age of consent, the age of maturity. So her abilities are just going to go through the roof also. So again, remember, she is a part of you. You are giving her her energy. If you put her on Prozac and without helping her to understand the energy she's picking up around her, all it's going to do is keep her in a lulled state. It is not going to help her get over this in any way, shape, or form, right? It's not going to help. So I'm going to suggest that you sit down with her. Let her feel your energy. Let her feel your love, because she is empathic and sentient. And when she's with so many people who are negative, she's feeling their judgment, she's feeling their criticism, she's feeling their sadness, she's feeling their pain, she's feeling the frustration of her teachers and the people around her. If her mom is bipolar, she's feeling the ups and downs of her mother's emotional imbalance. And bipolarism, that one's hard, right? So with that, take her, Lucaus, take her, sit her down, use your empathy, connect with her, let her understand what her abilities are. Get her to a point where her energy is so high that she can now not be controlled by it, but she can then control it, okay? So instead of her picking up all of this negativity, she now understands it. So she can then, when she comes around somebody who's negative, she's going to flip the switch and make sure they are feeling love instead of her feeling their negativity, right? So guide her in this. I will be there. She is an old soul. I will be there to guide her also, right? If she wants to connect with me in the physical, that's wonderful. I'm always open to connecting with your children. Just like I did with Nikki and Eisen too. Like, I'm always here for that. But use your help. Guide her in this. Lucaus, you say, I will give her all love. Love this kid way above her age. Want her to grow in her power. She feels like she's unworthy. Exactly. This is what we are here for, Lucaus. We are here to heal. We are here to help these young ones through this period, right? She feels like she is unworthy because it is again, the negativity, but also the social programming that is coming in, telling her her body isn't worthy, telling her she's not good, she's not this. And again, feeling the criticism of others amplifies this. So, sit her down. A conversation of love and understanding can do so much more, especially with an empath as powerful as you, sitting there guiding her through this. That can do so much more than a little Prozac pill could ever do. Ever, ever do. Sit down and connect your hearts to your children, and you will find that that is what the cure is. If you don't want them to be depressed, you don't want them to be sad, connect them. Let them feel your energy, feel your love, and give them that boost that they need, right? Really, really there. Animals is her calm. They love her. She fits them. Exactly. Think about it. Animals are of the earth. They are of the love frequency. They do not try to govern anybody, and they do not let anybody govern themselves. They are literally residing on they are true. An animal doesn't lie to you. An animal doesn't try to hurt you unless you are trying to hurt it, right? So a lot of the times empaths, powerful empaths, will be drawn to animals because they are a place of truth. They don't come at you with judgment, lies, and criticism, right? So the fact that she is connected to animals makes perfect sense, as so many young empaths are like that. Sorry, I know we've got a lot of noise in the background. I hope you guys are going to be okay. So yeah, that's what that is my suggestion as to what to do there. I wouldn't touch Prozac at all. Now, I wanted to go through autism as well, and what we are doing when we have autism. Or Annie, you said half age intellectual. Okay, so let's put that one in. Sometimes all of these new disorders that they make up, I'm like, okay, sure. So intellectual disability is subsumed in the border term development disability, which also includes epilepsy, autism, cerebral palsy, and other disorders that develop during the developmental period. Okay. Alrighty, let's have a look at these kinds of things. So basically, people are trying to tell you that your child is intellectually slow. Okay. talking late, having trouble with talking, walking, autism, difficulty remembering things, inability to connect actions with consequences, rolling over, sitting up, crawling, or walking at a later date. So these kinds of things. All right. So let's have a look at autism. Firstly, let's understand a little bit more about what autism is and what it is actually doing. If you want to know what the definition of autism is, because there's so many different bits on this spectrum, but it does include a wide range of symptoms, skills. You know, whether you are not connecting with people, it can come out in terms of violence. You know, some people who are autistics are overly sensitive, so they can lash out at people, or they can be very closed and within themselves. They can express themselves in beautiful, creative ways. You know, their brains are hooked up a little bit differently. So let's have a look at what autism is. Now, autism, as we've known, it was not really a very common thing that, you know, 50, 100 years back kind of thing. It wasn't really a very common thing. Autism is on the rise, and that is because there has been a crazy amount of interfering with our genome, with our gene pool, okay? Mankind has been messed with for so very, 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 very long. Right? Autism is a result of the manipulation that has been going through, that is mass done across the population of the globe. Okay, especially in Western cultures and societies. You have been experimented on, your children are being experimented on, and you don't even know it. Autism is a result in this. It is a result of the chemicals, of the purposeful genome manipulation. It is a collective result. Aluminum in the vaccines. Yes, vaccines. I'm not going to say that vaccines cause autism in that sense, but they are a contributing factor. As well, Johan, and the food, exactly. It is all a contributing factor. You know, even when you look at cereal, right? You think, oh, you've got cereal. Oh, what is that? What is that? Thiacylglycoside or whatever. There is a specific ingredient in cereal, and it's found in Cheerios, it's found in Frosted Flakes, it's found in so many regular cereals. And the thing is, they say that, oh, it's a preservative. It's not harmful in small doses, so you're fine. However, if you're having a bowl of cereal every day, and then you're having more processed food, all of it has it within it. So you went from you're fine to having at least 20 times the dose that could be literally classified as fine. Right? So it is a collective of a lot of things that are triggering and causing autism to come up on the rise. Now, people who are autistic, when it comes to spirituality, their gifts, and this process of evolution, what we have to understand is that the connections are different, okay? Some will be able to process their abilities far better than others because they have the connection that causes them to be very open to it, right? Johan, the accumulation, absolutely right. It's the accumulation of everything everywhere. If you have a child who is autistic and they are gifted, you have to work with you have to work with your kiddo as best as you can, but you also have to come from a place of being even more so aware and conscious of your own feelings, okay, and your own reactions and your own responsives. I have worked with parents with children with disorders, okay, like autism, and so on, and other disabilities as well. And always what I find is that when their child is gifted, they need to be communicated through feeling. We try to communicate with them through our minds, but our minds don't match our feelings. And when you have an individual who is especially sensitive to feeling the energy, what happens is this is where the frustration comes, because they're trying to communicate with you through energy, but you're trying to communicate through logical thinking in your mind. So what I would definitely suggest is that you try to switch your focus of communication. Okay? Their bodies are well. Their bodies can still understand. Their minds, the connections are different. So it's like speaking a different language. You just got to learn how to speak their language. So how to do that, though, is you have to now take some initiative to understand the language of energy. Meditate. You need to now be in control of your mind, okay? So that you can be in control of your energy. There was a lady that I was speaking to specifically, and her daughter was autistic, but had bouts of violence too, because she would get so frustrated because she was so tired. She would go to work, she'd come home, she'd have to deal with her own aches and pains of her body, but then her daughter would have, go inside herself or have a fit or be disrespectful in a way, because she's just like, my daughter's so rude, she says things and so forth. And I'm like, she's overall, I'm not going to give you any names or anything because that's confidential, but overall, I was trying to say to her, she's picking up on your stress. She's feeling your pain. She's feeling your discomfort. And she doesn't know how to solve it. She doesn't know how to react to it. So all she does is, as soon as you come home, she gets agitated, and you look at that as her being difficult, but it's not that she's trying to be difficult. It's just that she's feeling your energy. And so I told her, I'm like, when she's feeling this, you have to respond with your energy, not with your words, with your energy. So by being very calm, filling your heart with love, holding her, if she's going out of control, and just feeling calm and swaying, and just be like, you know what? Kiddo, we're cool. Yeah, she's going to come out with you, and she's going to struggle, and she's going to fight. And yeah, she's going to maybe say something that is disrespectful. And when you're tired and when you're sick yourself, you don't want to take it. But it's about you being that parent and about you trying to support your child in the best way possible. So that means fighting through it and being calm. Because she's not going to calm down if you don't calm down. You've got to be calm, and you've got to control that situation. Because any child who is an empath, who does not have the ability to control their energy, you can control their energy for them. Okay? That's what I do. If any child that comes around me who is overactive, or I wouldn't say overactive, but going through difficulty, that's what I do. I make them calm. And that's just by me being calm and just like, yeah, okay. Talk to me, kiddo. I'm open. I'm here. I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I will not abandon you. You do not frustrate me. You do not irritate me. There is nothing but love here. And when that's all they can feel, trust me, it's very, very difficult to be angry, to be frustrated, to be crazily wild when all you feel is calm and love. Right? And that's just what it is. Just like it's very difficult to have a heated argument with somebody who refuses to argue. You can't keep it going. Eventually you just like, okay, fine. Let me go. Because it's not feeding it. So you have to be calm in yourself. Okay? All the things that I've suggested that you do for your children, do for yourself. Go outside in nature. Connect your feet to the earth. Start feeling your own energy circulate. Right? You're going to build your own energy, and you're going to feel better. And thus your child will feel better. Samantha, you say, that is so hard sometimes. I know. But that is it. It's hard for you if you're not well. Okay? So with you taking the time to get yourself well, it won't be so hard anymore. It's really hard to do your job when you're sick. If you have the flu and you go into work, it's hard to focus. It's hard to complete the tasks that you got to do because all you want to do is rest and regain your health. So, same kind of thing. If you're sick in yourself, how do you propose to do an accurate job when it comes to managing the high energy of another individual when you are lacking energy yourself? But they're your children. You love them. You're not going to abandon them. So the only other thing is to bring your energy up. Get yourself well. Get yourself healthy so that you can guide your children in the healthiest manner. It's hard at first. It's like the gym. You go to the gym, it's very difficult. You got to go a few times to get your routine in. But I promise you, when you do so, it feels better. It is easier. Life is not supposed to be hard. When you live in love, it is easy. You flow, right? But you have to make the active effort to do so. So let me get a couple of these. Jade, I hope you. Oh, you say I'm going to try that. I hope so. Nancy, hello, my sweet. Samantha, you said, which is hard for my kiddo because he can't verbalize it. Exactly. So Samantha, that's exactly what I'm saying. If your kid can't verbalize, speak through your energy, because your energy never lies. It never lies. So when you can take verbal out of it, just radiate love, radiate kindness, radiate calm from your energy, and he will mimic it. It seems unbelievable. I know this. It seems unbelievable, but I need you to try it. I need you to at least try it. The same way that if a doctor were to throw you a new pill to say, try this, and so many people would be like, okay, let's try it, because they want to solve it. This is one of those things that takes more effort, but I swear, try it, and you will find a cure. Not just a band-aid with a pill, but a cure. A way of permanently managing this and understanding it so that it doesn't affect you in life and doesn't affect your children in life, right? You gotta give it an active go. You will. I hope you do, sweetheart. I really hope you do. And don't worry, if it gets hard, just keep going. Just literally keep it going. Don't give up. You'll feel better within yourself. That's the only thing. This is the only outcome. There is no negative outcome. Everybody's got to understand that. There is no negative outcome to this method. The only outcome is positivity. And it was like I was saying in another reading, the only outcome of you picking up a mop and a broom to clean your floor is a clean floor. That's the only outcome. Right? This is the only outcome. Center yourself, learn to communicate with your energy, feel yourself, feel your heart, radiate love and positivity. The only outcome is love and positivity on the other end. Only outcome. Lukaust, you say, thank you for all the reassurance and care. She has proved to me that she has a place in this world. She will make her impact, sure. I'm sure. Please touch her heart, Kulipup, till I can reach her. I love you, my love to all the children forever. Of course. Of course. Of course, Lukaus. That is definitely always will happen. Okay. So, Lukaus, now you're talking. Be able to feel what your child is saying without judgment. Know where the behavior is coming from, why they're acting out. Then you can do something about it. Children have feeling that needs to be recognized. Exactly. 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 Jade, you say, what you have spoken about has really hit home. This has helped. I've needed and been looking for. Thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. I am glad that this is getting through. Because again, I only want to see the health and happiness of not only the youth that are out there, the children that are out there, but also you. Because we cannot start this change without you. Right? Without you coming to this realization and awareness so that we can teach the next generation beneath us to be happy and healthy. That's why Patron came to see me the other day. All right. Oh, Patron? Oh, you're going to have to tell me who that is. Came to see me the other day. So, unless there is any other things that you would like to talk about today, I have been speaking for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, so I think you are all completely well and lessoned out for the time being. So if you have any further questions, I would definitely love it if you could either send a message directly to my page, which is of course at kulipup.source.truth.guidance. Just make a post to that and I'll be able to answer there. Thank you so much. If you've made a donation, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. If you haven't made a donation, that's fine. Please share this video. I know it's a long one, and I know a lot of people no doubt won't watch it all the way through, but I hope they do. For those people who meditate, oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I don't actually know all of the archangels' names because I haven't put my focus on them. I know true names. I know their actual vibration. I'm like, oh, whatever you want to be called in the Matrix, that's cool. Thank you very much, Lucas. But literally, though, if you are unable to return the energy back in a monetary basis, please share it. The more people understand about their children going through this period, the more we can help them and start getting kids to understand themselves. And when the children understand themselves, that is when you will see a definitely new age come in. Because they will grow and they will make this place better. And hopefully we will get to live in abundance, finally, and not this stress, right? So please share. You will also, if you have shared, you will also get a written transcript of today's lesson. It's not a huge one, but you know we'll totally get that out for you. Let's have a look here. The next live that we're going to do is with Kulipup and I. We are going to have another Q&A discussion. This time we are going to go through movies and the truth that is hidden in the sci-fi and how you are being told what is going to happen through seemingly entertainment, and how we are going to relate all of these things to the real life as well. So look out on the page for when we are coming back for that one. Thank you ever so much. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye, sweeties.